Well, looks like it's about that time again. Last time I discussed Star Wars, I was showing what path it didn't follow straight with The Force Awakens. Since we are on the path of correction, I might as well discuss Rogue One and what the future of the Star Wars universe should be, from a fan with no second lived without loving Star Wars. Here is Star Wars' next best move. The Force Awakens came out late last year and easily became the highest grossing movie in America. In hindsight now, it's debatable if it deserved the affection after all. But sure enough, now that Disney is behind the wheel, a new Star Wars movie is being released only 1 year after. Personally, I think Star Wars had a pretty good thing going with one movie every 3 years, but clearly Disney is prioritizing quantity over quality with its new product. In fact, the sequel to The Force Awakens was originally scheduled for this year. Thank God that didn't happen. It's almost like J.J. Abrams was like, oh, people don't like the fact that he just remade a shitty version of A New Hope? Well shit, scrap plans for the First Order Strikes Back. And so now that they have a little bit of breathing room for a new production, and now so do we, let's discuss what the new movie should be and can go in a cool and original direction that could possibly revolutionize the film industry like the originals did. Probably not though. If you ever saw my past compare and contrast of A New Hope and The Force Awakens, then you know I don't think very highly of Rey's character. Hey, don't get out your pitchforks yet. I promise it's for a good reason. In the video, I explain how Rey embodies a character archetype, or stereotype if you will, of a character who is good at everything. She knows how to fly the Millennium Falcon like a pro right away. She also fixes said Millennium Falcon in a way Han Solo never could, even finishing his sentences, and in a span of 40 minutes she learns about her new Force powers, uses them to resist Kylo Ren's, and then proceeds to annihilate Kylo Ren at his own game the first time. Okay, the second time she touches a lightsaber. Yeah, do you kinda see where I'm coming from now? Usually in movies, characters are given huge issues that they have to overcome over the course of the film. For Luke, it was a destruction of everything he knew and loved, and then becoming the galaxy's hero. For Darth Vader, it was his blind hatred and dark side and choosing the love of his son over power and the Force. And for Han Solo, it was being a likable asshole who hangs out at bars with his walking carpet, and eventually hooking up with finding friends with Luke and the gang, yeah. Yeah, that's what I meant. But the thing is, she kind of already won. It took Luke from witnessing the painful death of his family to liberating the galaxy, and Vader, and the Emperor, spanning over 3 amazing films, which is probably about 6 years of time. Where in The Force Awakens, halfway through the film, she already pretty much does all of that. In A New Hope, Luke never went face to face with Vader, but he saw a veteran Jedi fall at his hands. In The Emperor Strikes Back, Luke has only a little bit of training in his newfound powers, and Vader just plays with him, just beating up Luke enough to try and seduce him in his weak state. By the time we arrived at Return of the Jedi at the emotional final fight, everyone is on the edge of their seats, thinking, can he really pull this off this time? Everyone else is counting on him, and as skilled, collected, and wise as he now is, only with the additional resistance of his father is Luke able to overthrow the Emperor and complete his story.
Luke Skywalker has vanished. I said, oh, this is gonna be good. I'm reading. I'm making notes every time everyone says, Skywalker must be stopped, page 34. The sword of Skywalker is powerful, page 77. So I have this long list, and I'll tell you where I thought I came in the forest, when the lightsaber goes like this and flies off. I said, oh, what a great entrance! Ah! Rey caught it? She hasn't even been to Dagobah for training!
But Rey does what Luke did through harsh training, trial, and error, and love in 6 years, for what only took Rey less than an hour and a half. What is she going to do the next movie? Face off Kylo Ren again? Well, why would that matter? She completely obliterated him in their first encounter. There's no question of her beating him again. So what's the gravity of the situation now? And here, young Skywalker, you will find out my plan.
You will die.
Rey and Kylo Ren need to switch sides. Rey has got a ton of power and can summon it all at will to crush men who have trained in the Force for years. As we all know, power corrupts. Rey may get into a state where she is far too powerful for her own good. Yes, she left off at good footing with Luke at the end of the last film, but who's to say that wouldn't just make the process go even faster, becoming more powerful by training with him and seeking more from the Force. And I think the polar opposite with Kylo Ren. He's battered and beat from the last battle. All this work, time, and devotion into the dark side has been all for nothing. Some rookie girl from the desert took his birthright, stolen his rightful position as a Skywalker. He has so much time in between episodes 7 and 8 to reflect on all the evil the dark side did for him. Nothing. He killed his own father and betrayed his family. He's going to think about that from every moment of practice and pain that he has to live with. I think that just as he had for Luke, Obi-Wan will appear for Kylo Ren, saying something along the lines of, "Look at you. You have taken my name, Ben, and done nothing good with it. I can feel the imbalance of the Force within your heart. You know it to be true. I've seen it." He now takes back his name of Ben and refuses to be called else. The dark side in his blood runs out much like Vader's. After all, he still is a Skywalker, but will have his occasional sides of darkness and scumminess and scruffiness, because he's still half Solo too.
Who's scruffy looking?
Enough to dabble into the other side of the Force, finding different techniques and powers only wielded by members of the dark side. She is summoned unto the dark side by the Force, and shows herself to Snoke, only too eager to be relieved of his weakling Kylo Ren she had already beaten. Now this solves a ton of problems. If Rey has had the dark side within her all this time, it makes quite a bit of sense that she would have beaten Kylo Ren so easily, and why he sometimes does bad things despite having a hard time doing them, unlike bold and cold Vader, in the beginning at least with Obi-Wan. It also pushes the story forward understandably, giving our new protagonist, Ben, something to prove, and get the audience on the edge of their seats. Do I think Disney would ever do that? Unfortunately, no. They've made too many little girls happy that they would have a strong, independent figure of their gender to look up to, and I don't think they will be taking any risks in the series at all. With how little doubt in Rey's strength we have, I think the series might come for a disappointing actual vision. But man, would that completely shock cinemas. Now that's a story to get gripped on. Also easy to grip on was Finn. He was by far the best character in the film. Poe was kinda cool, but he wasn't developed much. We don't really know anything about him, or anything interesting. Not to mention he totally left Finn out for dead on that TIE fighter. He must have really booked it because he's nowhere to be seen on that horizon, and left his beat up coat as a fuck you. And, well, we've already talked about Rey enough, but Finn was absolutely the best character in the entire film, and Episode 8 needs to embrace that. If Episode 8 ends up going my route, then there'll have to be a leader of the group. And I think Finn is just perfect for that. He's a really nice guy who you can't help relating and really liking. He was light years more enjoyable than Rey was. He even throws everything he possibly can at Kylo Ren to protect Rey, and I was super happy with the duel. Oh. Yep. Oh, yep, I'm done.
Ah! Rey caught it?
Focus on him a little bit more of the interesting, dynamic, and complex characters, like Kylo Ren and Finn, or start developing the flat and static characters more. Oh yeah, you can give him back the goddamn lightsaber. As pre-mentioned earlier, The Force Awakens was a carbon copy of A New Hope. I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, and even I have to admit that to myself. It's so dumb of them to do. Why? There's a reason why people don't like remakes of movies. It's because they suck. What is the reason for remaking a film, huh? No, seriously. All good remakes of movies or songs or shows are redoing it in a way that hasn't already been done. If something is really old and uses outdated technology that negatively affects the experience, then you remake it. If something about the original had a really good concept, but didn't properly execute it, here is your chance to properly execute it. If something was absolutely perfect, you don't remake it. Why the fuck did you think remaking A New Hope would be a good idea, huh? Did you think you could make it better than George Lucas? Huh? Oh, that's why.
Dude, check it out. I just got a signed copy of the Force Awakens script.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was just really lazy. In worst case scenario, he ends up remaking Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi 2. So now we can have 4 fucking Death Stars in the span of 6 movies. You know what really needs remaking? The fucking prequels. I don't know what this guy's been smoking, but I want it. There's been an amazing fan theory about Snoke's origins that's been going around about Snoke being Palpatine, aka the Emperor's ex-master. Palpatine, determined to replace his master's throne, he murdered him, as the dark side usually goes. His master previously found the secret to immortality in creating life through the assembly of, you guessed it, metachlorians, which ends up tying the entire series back to the prequels in a really clever way.
Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
No.
I thought not. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you. It's a Sith legend. Darth Plagueis was a dark lord of the Sith, so powerful and so wise, he could use the Force to influence the midi-chlorians to create life. He could even keep the ones he cared about from dying. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
What happened to him?
Unfortunately, he taught his apprentice everything he knew. Then his apprentice killed him in his sleep. It's ironic. He could save others from death, but not himself.
And was part of a virgin birth, which is absolutely fucking stupid, until you consider the fact that he may have created Anakin to get revenge against Palpatine, because Anakin eventually becomes Palpatine's undoing, leading to Snoke reclaiming his throne as the Emperor to be the leader of the new empire, called the First Order. Now, how is that for making a character interesting and well-written? Pretty cool stuff, actually. I'll definitely put some links in the description. Man, it almost makes you wonder why the fans are writing the scripts. They're writing better stories than Abrams is. Oh, wait.
Officially licensed BB-8 drop. I love it. Oh, hey man. How's the review channel going? What the hell, man? Come on, come on.
Make your own goddamn movie. Your move, Disney.